So my thinking is that Blender gave me as many free tools as Dragon Frame and Stopmotion Pro Eclipse to film as many animated projects as dear to my imagination. The question boils down to how those tools served me based on what I needed to do with each self-verification. Hello everyone, greetings from Anna Crossman. In this video I'm going to start a secondary course with just the commentary over a select number of Claymation 2D animated films in addition to tutorials behind the scenes I just happened to film over the last few years of doing YouTube part-time and even full-time over the span of my main channel's run. First, Blender. Blender helped me make the 2D animation process so much simpler while allowing me just to animate in two-dimensional frames and actively list your filmography with each hand-drawn sketch with minor hiccups and technical issues that perhaps other premium software 2D causes for animators. I noticed personally that I have a severe weakness in the opposite direction, the one where I don't just simply let my animations do little to zero action in between the frames. That's in large part because I haven't readily or completely learned how to use freeze frames and multi-layer features of Blender's 2D animation application yet. Getting past those in the color wheel, I animate fairly decently for a beginner animator of only 2 to 6 weeks ongoing. I have created complete films for anime and a couple Fernjo cartoon projects, such as Lucky Star, Bochi the Rock, and Teacot, The Curse Comes of Time Travel, as well as a handful of animation experience to help guide me to self-taught techniques. And I have gratefully been doing really well not getting impatient and overdone up with the process so I don't get stressed out or overwhelmed about my process doing 2D animation. Now, normally I would lean into just studying the techniques offered by free course material on YouTube, and part of my stubborn ways I would have just taken my time and got past not needing to make anything and everything at any given moment, and just work on the same project long enough for it to be good or better, as opposed to publishing any work in progress on YouTube that rarely comes to very sake. I want to say in advance that I've become a lot more passionate for animation overall as I finally use some urge to take up drawing and filming on an occasion. I legitimately avoid having a freaking tripling pornography addiction for over 15 years just by learning about my inevitable passion for creative art in the slowest pace possible. This is learning my 2D animation course. No, seriously, I actually have gone at my passion for 2D so well that I can tolerate animating sooner than later and having incomplete projects to boost it all high in my algorithm. Brrrr! And so because I do have a passion for animation and stop motion, that brings me to my second point, my creation experience. As opposed to my luck enjoying making frequent 2D animation pieces to YouTube twice per week, I still expect to film stop motion animation at least once a month and complete projects for 2 months, with behind the scenes and direct on footage tutorials. The thing that bothered me so much about animation in terms of my childhood trauma was that I seem to have chosen the most complicated animation medium on purpose. Was it to work hard as possible for my worthwhile goals? Was it to impede my progress as an animator and hit my goals because I deep down didn't want to succeed? I think I am too down my luck as a creative content producer, and I have too many high expectations for me to prove upon and embellish the world as I see fit. It makes sense why I'll take on Claymation as a first and foremost, and then get to 2D animation in the years to come. If it was to prove a point, it was totally worth the suffering and shadow of was already out. Needless to say, I ended up becoming a competent clay modeling sculptor and promotion and foundry technician in all the best of ways. My Claymation is fabulous. I look back at my films over the last several years and I don't see a dampened star of a portfolio. I see a guise of feel for work that worked on me rather than on it, as spiritual folk may point out. As an animator, I became someone worthy of my freelance YouTube creator market. If I can make this work out, you can too. I forgot to mention what I did with Claymation. I make a film's 12 frames per second footage counts with lasting anywhere between 6 seconds and 25 to 40 seconds of runtime on my screen is a piece. When I sculpted props, I can finish each one in 2 to 4 hours during live streams by constantly speaking. When I edited footage to make the textures turn into stop motion, each session took me no more than half of the hour if I was casual so to be comfortable. With sound design music adding more color to my routine editing stop motion, as I enjoyed recording voiceovers and temporary Foley art sound effects to beat the Dragon Ball music, which I still do this day to be fair. My point about Claymation is that it was the hardest animation medium I ever encountered, more so proved by my recent entry into 2D animation as I bold claim still reigns supreme. I won't say that one is better strictly over the other, although it is good to mention on a basis of something like rendering raw pops you don't have that option or steps in stop motion unless you're editing special effects or lip sync. It also distinguishes hard style traditional Claymation and for always taking 2s or 3s for extra frames because in Claymation you're prone to no natural standing mistakes as opposed to constant technical ones like in 2D animation. The only mistakes I had in technical error I ever had in Blender, for example, was learning how to run blend files and other footage softwares. But that's a rookie mistake at best. Considering that it comes with its own video editor and grease pencil tool, it also includes 3D animation elements like graphic imaging and animation tools that help you guide and design bar better than simply redrawing each frame over and over again, which I get to adopt into my workflow. I have yet to rename my lifestyle with stop motion animator, especially with all the upkeep of paper craft materials and modeling clays for rank and new plots I have to keep track of film in stop motion. So Blender 2D takes the cake in terms of readiness, convenience, and quality of life improvements, while Claymation and stop motion is definitely the most interesting when done well fully in the mold mix for excellent solid style films and the mediums of storytelling techniques if you use them as practice. That was my experience using both stop motion and 2D. What do you guys think of my thoughts and criticisms lately? Let me know in the comments below what you'd like to see me talk about film next. Love as always, I'll Crosswind. Stay still, because stop motion is still ever yet on the move. Stay safe and cozy.